Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is a special guest, Mrs. Patti Raduenz. She coordinates our Safe Routes to School program. Welcome to NPS Now.
Yes, thank you for having me back.
Well, we're back to school and we want to talk about making sure our students are safe walking to and from school. So tell us all about the Safe Route to School program.
Yeah, this is a great time of year to talk about safe routes to school. With the start of the school year, we want to make sure that the kids are walking, biking, rolling, and busing to school safely.
Yeah, so what concerns parents you think the most about their children walking to school?
Just getting to school safely, getting from home to school, and making sure they get there in one piece and get there safely. So, you know, with Safe Routes to School, our main objectives is looking at education, making sure children are educated on, you know, how to be safe, how to walk safe, understanding the rules of the road, and also they get to practice it. So we actually have some curriculum in the schools, in our physical education classroom. We do activities which allow them to get excited about walking, about biking, even about bus safety.
Mm-hmm. And some parents, I'm sure, are distracted drivers. What's some advice you want to give to some of those parents when they're dropping off or picking up their children?
Right. Well, kind of to put everything into perspective, we have probably over 33,000 students that attend Norfolk Public Schools, and we bus approximately 19,000 of those students. So that leaves anywhere 14 to 15,000 students that are either walking, biking, or being driven to school. So we want to make sure parents understand that when they're driving their children to school, they're setting an example for their kids. So are they distracted, or are they paying attention to their surroundings? Because I'm sure parents want their children to pay attention to their surroundings while they're biking and walking. And so if they can do that and set a good example, and also for themselves and the safety of those around them, making sure they put the cell phone or any devices down.
Yes.
And are paying attention to their surroundings.
What are some tips for our students to stay safe while they're walking to and from school?
Definitely. How about follow the rules of the road? Norfolk has plenty of crosswalks, plenty of signs, you know, that tell you when you're supposed to cross, when you're not supposed to. We have crossing guards in place that assist students crossing the street, especially at some of the busier intersections around schools. And then there's some safety gear that students could wear. To be bright is to be seen. So their clothing when they're walking to school is important. They can wear reflectors, they can wear lights, and some of the items that we give away with the Safe Route program is kind of for students that they can wear or use during the school time or school hours on their way to and from school to help keep them safe.
So you have a lot of walkers. We have a great number of walkers. Right. So I guess you've mentioned one time to me before about a walking school bus. Explain what that is and how that works.
Right. Well, when we did a study and we looked at how parents feel about walking and biking to schools, one of the big things they talk about is, I don't feel that it's safe for my child. It's not supervised by an adult, or they're not old enough to walk by themselves. So one of the ideas that is used around the country is the idea of a walking school bus. And that's where you have a parent or an adult in a neighborhood that gets the children together and they walk together as a group to school, hence a walking school bus. And some of the items that we use and that we provide for the adults that do it is a reflective vest.
Oh, that's
it does
neat.
say the walking school bus on the back. And it's just to help them be seen, you know, be seen, be safe.
Wow, I hope that they're watching this show and may want to come together and have a walking school bus, because that's really neat.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of parents, it'll cut back on traffic in front of the school, picking up and dropping off, but it also gets them involved and get them healthy, which is another part of some of your programs where you want to invite them to walk to school with their parents. So you have an event coming up in October.
We do. We have Walk to School Day, October 5th, which is a Wednesday. You know, and if there's an opportunity for children to walk to school, this is a great way to help celebrate that. For those who maybe, you know, have to ride a bus, there's other things and other ways we can do it. There's some of the schools are doing a walk at school event. So when they get off the bus, they either do a lap around the school or a couple laps. and get to learn some of the ideas of what it means to be safe while walking.
So we have walkers. We also have students who ride their bikes, and I see
Right.
you have a helmet here.
Yep.
So talk a little
Yeah.
bit about our bike safety program.
Right. Well, the Safe Routes to School works to help educate and encourage walking and biking to school, but to do it safely. So a lot of the items that we provide are the reflectors, and of course, if you're going to bike, we highly, highly recommend that children wear a bicycle helmet. So we do in our education curriculum provide bicycle helmets for all our teachers while they're teaching the bicycle safety education. And then we also have plenty of helmets that we also give away or donate to the schools so that children who need a bicycle helmet can hopefully get one.
What's some of the curriculum that you're sharing about the bicycle safety for the
Right.
kids?
Well, each school is a little bit different. The teacher actually has control of his or her classroom. But one of the things we do provide them is we do have a sample curriculum for pedestrians and for bicycling. And then we also provide, we have activity books that they can take home and work with their parents, from traffic safety to pedestrian safety to bicycle safety. So there's a lot of things that we send home and provide our teachers to be able to incorporate it into the classroom. We have many road signs that teachers can use, so they can actually set up a kind of a roadway
Like
in
a
their
simulation
gyms.
for them to...
Right,
Okay.
right. So they actually get to learn in a safe environment. If they're, maybe the children aren't comfortable doing it in the real world yet, they can at least do it in a controlled environment.
What are some tips for you to share with parents, to share with their kids, to remind them about bike safety and walking to school safety?
Right. Well, the parents can be an example. I think that's the biggest one, is be a positive role model, because children are watching everything adults do. So be a positive role model. If you're not crossing in a crosswalk, we can't expect our children to walk in crosswalks. If we're not following the rules of the road, how do we expect our children to follow the rules of the road? And all of our schools have policies in place for arrival and dismissal. So, if we take a little bit of time and make sure we understand what those policies are, it makes things a little bit easier and a little bit safer at our schools.
So say you have a parent watching the show and they
Right.
want to create a walking school bus. Who do they contact?
Sure. Right now at each of our elementaries, we actually have a champion or a leader at that school. And it is our physical education teacher. So if they're interested in being a part of the Safe Route to School program, contact the front office and they'll put you in contact with that teacher.
Great stuff. Thank you for sharing and
Absolutely.
kicking us off to the next week of school
Yes.
and staying safe. So thanks for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today, we have two guests in the studio to talk a little bit about golf, Eastern District Golf, Conference 27 Golf, and we have the head coach at Booker T. Washington High School, Columbus Grant. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. And then he has brought a player, Jaria Wilson. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Coach, we'll start with you. Talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us about yourself and how you became the golf coach at Booker T.
Well, I started out as a volunteer with the girls tennis team as an assistant coach, and did that for 2 years. And last year, Mrs. Williams, the athletic director of Booker T, offered me the head coaching position for a tennis team for the boys.
Mm-hmm.
So took that, and this year she offered me the boys golf, the golf team coach,
Okay.
position. So I was excited about that.
All right.
And that's pretty much been my history here.
Okay. So with golf, just to kind of clarify for everybody out there, we only have one team. We don't have a boys team or a girls team. We just have a golf team in every school.
Correct.
But with that, typically it's been dominated by males, boys playing the sport, and we've had one or two girls sprinkled in at various schools. But you have gone out and recruited a number of females to participate. So talk a little bit about how many females you have and what that process was like.
Well, being that I was assistant girls tennis coach, I had a rapport with them as well. So I immediately knew I would be able to rely on hopefully a couple of girls to come out and at least try the sport. We had a meet and greet, and I actually got a couple of girls who were not on the tennis team that wanted to play. And then I found out that our top 2 seeds on the girls tennis team wanted to also try out.
Okay.
So that happened, and August 1st we started our practices, and we had I had the 2 girls. I had basically 6 people, and it was 3 and 3.
All right.
3 girls and I had 3 boys.
So obviously you got Jerry to participate.
Came,
so
yes.
Jerry, let's talk about what attracted you to the golf, to play golf for Booker T.
Well, actually I was first trying out for volleyball, and I was doing that for a couple weeks, but I didn't make the team. So then I just moved on to golf because like I knew that everyone that was on the team was also on the tennis team, so I would have known everyone. And another girl that tried out for golf was also not accepted for volleyball. So yeah, we just moved on, and I thought that it would be cool to move on and find something new.
Okay, so you found something new. So tell us what you like about golf so far.
I like that I'm out in nature, and like I recently got contacts, so and I don't have to wear glasses, so I can just look at everything out in nature, and everything is so beautiful, and it keeps me up and out of the house. And also, golf is a sport that requires patience and practice, and yeah, there's just a lot of effort put into it, and it's not like just swinging a club.
Okay. All right, Coach, you mentioned some patience, some challenges in golf, and then I'm sure there's some challenges for you to bring in new golfers to teach them the game. So talk a little bit about some of these challenges.
Well, I think...
And we're all challenged in golf, I
yes,
know that.
Yes. I think probably the biggest challenge was just teaching them the technique of how to swing a club properly, the aspects of the game as far as scoring, the rules. We're still going through the rules pretty deeply. The etiquette on the golf course is definitely a different environment out there. Things are a lot quieter. There's a lot more of respecting each other's game. There's just certain ways you have to behave on the golf course.
Right. So that's a good question. How can this transition it back to the school setting for in a positive way?
Oh, the respect, the courtesy, all of these play into the game of golf, and it obviously should come back and play in the school setting as well.
Right.
All of these things that are probably taught in school are going to be hammered out there on the golf course, because you can get penalty strokes for not obeying certain rules of golf, obviously, and walking across a line on the putting green, that can cost you. It's just disrespectful on the golf course. So.
All right. So Jerry, what do you look to achieve in golf?
You mean my goal?
For your goals for this year?
Well, I would like to raise my ranking, because right now I am number 10 just because I think so much, and so that makes me the slowest, basically. And also, yeah, so I would like to increase my pace as I progress and just get used to the heat, I guess.
All right. So, Coach, talk a little bit about some benefits, not only playing at Booker T, but down the road. after they leave Booker T? What are some of the benefits there?
Well, I feel that I wasn't fortunate enough to play golf in high school. Wish I had knew about it at the time. But I think professionally, it's going to carry these kids a long way.
Mm-hmm.
You get put into different conversations if your employer knows that you're a golfer. You get considered for different things that you would not be considered for. I liken it to having another degree, honestly. If you can put on your resume that you played golf, that's going to carry you, believe it or not, just like having a master's degree, in my opinion. So I try to impart to them that learn the game, learn it and play it regularly if you can. And in time, once you graduate out of high school and you go to college, keep the game up, and you'll be surprised where it can carry you in life.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So again, how are we going to keep this program going? One, we know the boys are playing, but to have these young ladies involved, how are we going to keep that going?
Well, I'm going to continue to openly recruit from the tennis team, and I'm going to get them to also pull kids that they know. We just had freshman orientation this week, last week actually, and I got a list of 5 freshmen
mm-hmm.
that I have to call this week, and there were a couple of young ladies on that list.
Okay.
So that's going to be my way of also doing it. I have the team set up a table, and they're the ones who represent the actual golf team.
Okay.
So as long as they see it's not just a coach standing there trying to pull, and it's actually players saying, "Come on,"
All right. All right, Coach. We know there's some. We've talked about some challenges, but there's some other challenges in developing a golf program. So, what's another thing for you?
Equipment. We
Mm-hmm.
could definitely use more equipment. At the rate we're going, I have kids that I haven't even talked to yet, and I don't have equipment for them. So I've talked to Ms. Williams about that, and she's making some phone calls, but short of going to thrift stores
mm-hmm.
and trying to find golf bags and golf clubs to help field this crew, that's what we need,
Okay.
equipment.
So anybody out there, if they can donate some
Anybody
used golf equipment,
No
Booker
doubt.
T, and really any school
Yes.
would benefit from that. So,
Absolutely.
hopefully, people that watch this will take you up on your offer.
No doubt. I hope so.
All right. All right.
Thank
Thank
use
you.
all the help we could get.
Well, obviously you're doing a nice job with that, and again, we appreciate all the effort that goes into developing a team and then moving the team forward. So we want to thank both of you for being here. We want to wish you good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we'll see you in the zone qualifier, the Eastern Zone qualifier, and then maybe into the state tournament. Who knows? But practice, you got to keep practicing. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is Renee Parker. She is our Senior Coordinator for District Security Services. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you, Karen. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and we're starting the school year off, and so we want to talk about school security. So approximately how many security officers do we have in our schools, and how do they keep our schools safe?
Well, the goal for school safety is care, welfare, safety, and security for all. That includes our babies as well as our staff and employees. I have 47 full-time officers. Mm-hmm. I have 3 part-time officers, and then I have a host of substitute officers. And all of those officers are assigned to the secondary schools, our alternative schools, our open campus, as well as we've added a couple of elementary schools based on the need.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about the training and professional development that's required to be a school security officer.
Well, initially, before you can become a school security officer, you have to be a certified officer by the state. That's the Department of Juvenile Justice Services, DCJS. You must carry a DCJS certification card in security. Once we're presented with that and the applicant comes in, then we look at whether or not they have previous experiences in working with children. This year I got some really good officers that came in from our job fair, and this is the first time that NPS Security actually participated in the job fair. And so we got some former law enforcement folks, we've got some folks from DJJ, we've got some folks that have worked in the mental health area and working with juveniles. So it's been a really interesting year. All of my officers are also required to have 32 professional development hours each year. Once an officer has worked with us for 60 days, then the state requires that they go through basic school security officer. So it's not enough that you're just a security officer, or some people say a security guard. And this is why I'm so specific about saying security officer, because they are officers, they're not guards. And that certification makes them that. The 32 hours for the basic school security, it deals with school law, it deals with the school visitor as well as a school employee, the rules, the policies from Unicode and the school board and different things. So the officers have to learn all of that before they can become officially a school security officer.
So how does that training translate to what they do day to day?
Well, day to day, they have to enforce school policy. The school security officer is there to enforce school policy for the students, staff, and visitors. So they have to, you can't enforce rules if you don't know what they are. So that training allows them to learn what the policies are, what thus says the law, that people can and cannot do on school property. Because what you can do on school property and what you can do out in the public is totally different, because we do have our babies there.
Right. So what's the most important part of a security officer's work?
It's to help our children feel safe, because if children aren't safe, they can't learn. To allow our teachers to feel safe so that they're free to teach the children and engage with the children without having to worry about their safety.
What's some tips, being that you're talking about that students and staff can use to keep our students safe?
Not prop doors open. You know, it's very easy often when we want, especially staff, we want to run out to the car and we want to get something real quick, and we'll prop something in the door and then we'll come back. Or someone will start talking to us in the door that we were going to come back into that's propped. We forget and we walk with them on to where they're going, and so that door remains propped. Our students have to learn, don't open our doors for people. Don't prop the doors open so that your friends can get in. Everyone should come through the front door and go through the visitor or staff or student screening process. No one should be allowed to come into alternate doors. Once we open those doors, then we breach our safety.
Is there anything particular to staff members to make sure that the atmosphere is safe?
Well, even with staff members, because Norfolk Public Schools has a 100% ID check, it's very important that staff challenge people who are walking through the hallways that don't have either a visitor sticker or an employee badge on, because you need to make sure that everybody in the building is authorized to be there. And sometimes people, you know, they come in with one purpose and then they decide, oh, well, let me go see so-and-so, or let me go check on this one. That's not the way it should be. If you're in the school during the educational day, you should be there with a purpose. You should not be disrupting the learning environment, and you should be identified. Heaven forbid if there was ever something that would happen and we not know if everybody's out safely. We need to know who's in the building so that if we have to get people out, we know that we've gotten everybody out and they're accounted for.
And I guess this message is for parents too, because when you come to the schools, don't they need some type of identification?
They do. They need to bring their official government ID with them, because we want to make sure that the person that we turn the babies over to is the person that's actually authorized as well as legally able to pick that person up.
So National School Safety Week is coming up. Tell us about that.
Yes, it is. That's in mid-October, and that's the week that we like to take time to discuss some school safety things, but also thank the people in our schools that help keep the schools safe, like the school security officer and the school resource officer. So a lot of times I will ask the principals if they can do little special things to let them know just how much they appreciate them. Sometimes the children write letters. Businesses will donate different things to the officers. We've had anything from gift cards to little trinkets that we give to them, just to say, we appreciate you and we appreciate what you do all day long. Our principals will order lunch or breakfast or just different things for the officers, because they do work hard to keep our schools safe.
Great. Well, I hope parents at home are listening, students and staff. Remember, bring your ID when you come to school. ID checks, close the doors, no
Yes.
wandering, and making sure everyone checking in their front office, I'm sure.
That's key.
Thank you for coming in and sharing this information with us on today.
Thank you, Karen.
And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.